If you've lost touch with the joy of being a parent, then it's not about how much it is that you have to manage in the household. It's not the schedules. It's not your kids' behaviours. It's not your kids' dad. It's none of those things that are the cause of the disconnect from the joy. It's something far simpler and frankly far more solvable. So good news. And it's not comfortable because it requires us to look at ourselves. And it requires us as individuals to be able to pour love and acceptance into ourselves. It requires us to remove all of that focus that we have, all of that energy that we pour into all of the things outside of ourselves, and turn it around and really look at where it is that I am coming from. Because the results of the actions that we take will always come from the energy that we are pouring into it. And fundamentally, there are only two places that we can come from. We can come from lack, from scarcity, from fear. These are all the same things. Or we can come from abundance, from fulfillment, from love. On the lack side, we're looking to the world and we're thinking, how do I get? Because we don't feel complete. On the abundance side, there's a fulfillment from within that wants to be expressed and shared. When I act from lack, I'm just going to get more lack. Feels a little bit unfair, right? Because how do I get out of that cycle if I don't feel like I'm enough, if I don't feel like I have enough, if I feel unsupported, if I feel unseen, if I feel unheard, then how do I turn that around when all that's happening around me is just confirming all of that? And again, this is the mirror piece, where when we're looking out and feeling a certain way because of all of the things that we're experiencing that are very real, we're having a very real experience. It's very real things that are happening in our world. You're justified 100%. And nothing will change until you choose to change. Nothing changes until you do the challenging work of being able to love and accept the parts of you that you have fragmented and learned to suppress, learned to repress, learned are unacceptable, learned get you rejected. So we have all of these wounded parts, if you will, fragmented parts, compartmentalized. And when we can learn to be with that, and it's not comfortable, growth never is. When you can learn to be with that, to feel what's there, and to accept and embrace that feeling, to say to yourself, I see you and I hear you. I see you and I hear you. And start to, in that hearing, in that listening, take actions for you. What would be most loving for you right now when you remove all of that noise? Knowing that actually the whole world is not going to fall apart without you. It's gonna be okay. For a long time, I had this belief, this idea that I was the best placed person to love and nurture my children. I am, right? That is true, and so are other people in their life. I had this idea that if I took time away, it would cost me later. And so it did. Because I believed that. Because I needed to be needed to feel valuable. That was my lack consciousness coming through in those thoughts, in those belief systems, right? And in my practice, in my work, in the work that I do with people, we don't always need to get to the why we feel a certain way. What's important is being able to be with, being able to identify where it is we're coming from, where the lack is being experienced, and be able to pour love and acceptance into that place so that we can start acting from a new place. It can be as simple as, once we've identified something, that awareness alone is enough to put it down, to let it go, which is never a one and done thing. It's okay, oh look, here I am doing that thing that I've done for a really long time. I'm noticing it now, and I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna soften my body. I'm gonna pour love into me. When we can do this and make this our primary focus, it's the most selfless thing that we can do. Because when we are gifting ourselves that love, that compassion, and that acceptance, very naturally, we start to pour that out into the people around us. We start to naturally create space for us and the people that we love, the things that matter to us, without there being a ton of discipline required. Because it's an expression of who we are. And that's what we're here to do. That's the whole point in life, is to express and share who we are. We can't get to that if we're constantly looking out to the world for how to feel and who to be, for how to get value, for how to get love, for how to get acceptance. That's not us expressing, that's us seeking the validation. And we're gonna be in a dance of both. I haven't met anyone who has perfected the overflow, abundance 24/7, right? It's learning how to meet ourselves, learning how to have that loving relationship with the self, taking responsibility for our reality. And what I mean by reality is the experience that we're having within ourselves. And while the outside world and all of our relationships that are around us are going to aid us and assist us to cultivate a stronger relationship with the self, what we ultimately are aiming for is to be able to create, as I say, your own reality, meaning that, okay, here's a circumstance, here's a situation that has triggered a feeling in me. Well, that trigger is within me. That trigger is a call for love within myself. Maybe I don't have a boundary in place. Maybe I'm going against my own value system here. But again, it's bringing the focus back into you first. And then the action, the strategy, the thing to do is going to very naturally come forward. As we do this, a byproduct is often the behaviour of people around us changes. Because as your self-worth and self-value and self-love, all the same thing in my vocabulary, as that grows, as the standards you hold for yourself get higher and higher and higher, people feel that. It's an energetic thing. And the people who are unaligned will fall away. And the behaviours that previously triggered you, in my experience and in the experience of my clients, they become less and less. And you know how to meet them from your own leadership. You're not reacting anymore. You're responding. And the most fun part about all of this for me is that without us having to say a single word, without us having to teach anything, the internal safety, the self-regulation for our kids happens through osmosis and modeling. It's frankly miraculous what this creates in a family dynamic when you create unity in yourself. The unity in your family, it's inevitable. And when I say unity, I don't mean everyone's going to be sitting around a fire and singing songs and happy and in no friction at any point. That's not life. Unity doesn't require agreement. Unity requires an unshakable, undeniable self-trust, self-belief, and self-expression, which then allows others that exact same experience without there being conflict. That is the end of this transmission. This has been a fun one for me. I would love to hear what you hear in this. If you want to go deeper on any of these concepts or into my work, I have a mini course available for just £27 called What Your Child Needs You to Know. The link for that will be in the description. And if you'd like to explore working one-on-one in any capacity, then I will leave my email in the description as well. Sending you so much love. I will see you next week.